Okay, that was part number 1. So now we continue with the ceremony. The next part is what we call in Yiddish badekin, which means the covering, where Eliyahu Igor is going to go and put the veil over Alona. This is, again, the most important step of beginning this process, like we said earlier, as she's seated in her glory and her power, looking beautiful and amazing, and spiritually, of course. At this moment, more than anything, is also the way the spiritual and physical are coming together for her. Not only she looks beautiful, but her inside and outside are converging together as a new path unfolds for a chassan and kala, for a husband and wife. So what we do is we'll call the badekin. The badekin serves a dual purpose. Putting on a veil serves a dual purpose. For Igor, it serves the purpose of saying, I am not marrying you for your beauty. And surely you're not only beautiful, but today you're in the height of your beauty at this incredible moment. But that's not why I'm here for you. I'm here for you because of the bond and the journey that we're taking together. For Alona, what she is saying is, I am vulnerable. Ultimately, me sitting over here and you coming to me, I want you to know that I'm accepting you, and I'm accepting you in my vulnerability, which means a woman is an incredible part of creation. I would call it the number 1 part of creation. What does it mean to be number 1? It means to be able to be a full human being and perpetuate humanity. A man is only half of creation. They could just try to behave. But a woman can do all of that together. But what happens is that means there are parts and times that she's not at the height of her physical power. So if you have a man in your relationship, even if you're a type A, that what happens is that you are going to be vulnerable in certain occasions. So when you enter in a relationship, a marriage with someone, you're also telling them at this point, putting on the veil means I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable to you. I'm trusting that you're going to be good by me the whole way through. Now this tradition goes all the way back to Isaac and Rebekah, the first couple in the Torah that says they were in love. And at that moment when they saw each other for the first time and knew that they were going to be married, this moment happened with the veil, once again saying that Yitzchak was telling Rebekah that I am marrying you for the journey that we're going to be on. And Rebekah is saying, I left my home. I'm now completely vulnerable to you. I'm sure and believe that you're going to do right by me. So we're going to join together in this moment and bring Eli over to do this incredible moment.
Okay.
Yeah?
Huh? I just want to do one more thing. Then we'll do okay. Just one more note to what Rabbi Peretz added is that as Rabbi Peretz noted, that one of the reasons we do the badekin, it's really it's one of the most spiritual things that we do at a wedding. By putting on the veil, what we're emphasizing is that Igor is marrying not just what he can see about Alona, but all the things that he cannot see. You know, in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, he will continually find new things about you. And what he's saying now is, I accept you for who you are, what I can see and what I cannot see. And it's interesting, the name that you chose, the name Leah. Leah was the woman under the chuppah, the original chuppah, that when the veil was on, that Jacob couldn't see, and that we are perpetuating this time, every Jewish wedding, that the groom is making this statement to his wife, to his bride, that I love you totally, even the things that, not what I cannot see, what I cannot see today, what I will find out in 30, 50, 80 years from now, you will keep surprising him, he accepts that today as well. Okay. So, let's walk with him together.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll tell you what to say. You're going to say his blessing. You're going to put his corner. Okay. And then you give. Okay. Walk slowly.
Careful. So I know.
You cannot.
song. La 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 la
Good one? Long enough? Okay, I got it. Partially. We got it. I need another one. For sure. But for Shabbat, so I can leave it. Yes. I tried to have separate apologies.
All right. The actual wedding ceremony that we're going to begin in just a moment is comprised of two parts. It is called Erusin and Nisuin. Many years ago, you know, we Jews, we've been around for a long time, and everything we do has thousands of years of tradition and meaning behind it. Many years ago, these ceremonies were done at two different times, generally up to about a year apart. About a year before, there would be like an engagement ceremony, and there would be a ceremony of commitment known as Erusin. Erusin is the first level of the groom's commitment to his bride. And then about a year later, they would make the wedding. Most people thought that that's how long it takes for a Jewish bride to find her dress. It takes 12 months to get ready. But in recent times, we have combined these ceremonies for a variety of reasons into one ceremony, which we could do all now under the chuppah. So the first part is Igor is going to walk down. He's going to stand under the chuppah, and then Alona will come, also walking with called shushvinin. Igor is to be accompanied by two people who walk him, and Alona will be walking accompanied by her mom and I believe my wife as well. They're going to walk together down to the chuppah. Alona will circle 7 times. Rabbi will explain when we're done about it. So, but these two, that's the end of Erusin with the blessing, and then there's the giving of the ring. The reading, we're going to read the entirety of the ketubah in the original. Rabbi Block from Los Angeles will be reading it. And then there are 7 blessings which serve as the actual wedding ceremony. I mentioned earlier that originally human beings were created not as separate, male and female, but as one being, and then they were split. Many people think that the story in the Bible was that Adam was created first, and then God made an operation and made a woman out of Adam. That's according to our tradition. What really happened was Adam was what you would call was a unified male-female, male on one side and a female body on the other side. And the operation was they were just actually split in half. They were back to back, and life is about turning around and being able to find each other on this incredible journey. And so Alona and Igor have been on this amazing journey that's been going on for a while in many different ways. And I'm sure I speak for everyone. All of us rabbis, we've been along on this roller coaster ride with them. And it's a tremendous honor, privilege, and a blessing for us that we can be here together with you on this day and help you walk down and finalize the commitment that you made to Alona a while back. Okay. Right? Like, as long as you understand what you have to understand what you're saying.
Whatever you want. I can say.
I'm gonna introduce you, then you'll say something.
Okay.
Before we walk down, we're on both sides. We're going to be walking with 2 candles on each side. The candles symbolize the light, at the bride and groom, who are walking with on each side. Just as when the 10 Commandments were given at Mount Sinai, there was thunder and lightning and light on both sides. The bride and groom are like a king and a queen. When they walk down, they're accompanied on both sides with candles. Another deeper mystical significance is that the candles symbolize the souls of grandparents and family members who have passed away, who are not here today. The flame is an eternal symbol of a person's soul, and at a wedding, we invite the souls of family members who physically cannot be here today to join them in spirit. We actually give them an invitation, and so when we walk down, we carry these candles that we are bringing the souls of the ancestors of the family to join them on this very holy, special moment. Our tradition tells us that 4 generations of ancestors, of grandparents, great-grandparents, and great-grandparents are actually sharing with you this moment today under the chuppah.
Amazing.
What do you want to say?
Oh, do you have enough time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Till we get to room.
Everybody seated, right? Okay. So, you may wonder how we got here. Pretty long path actually for me, and I just wanted to share the story. Some people, my close friends, were trying to get slowly some information out of me. Why exactly they're on the Jewish wedding? For example, they were really puzzled about the entire metamorphosis, especially we haven't seen each other for a while, and
The drugs that wear off in about 3 hours.
yeah. They were sure that. I can't beat that actually. Okay, I hope not. I hope it's gonna take 300 years. Anyway, so I want to share my personal story how I got here. I'm gonna try to keep it short. Okay, so for a real long time I was actually felt really spiritual, and I was trying to pursue different kind of spirituality, different religions, and I was trying to find in myself what exactly is gonna stick. So for a long time I was actually a Catholic, and but it didn't resonate to me. It didn't really didn't stick, and wasn't anything I was interested in for a long time. At some point around 3 years ago, I discovered Judaism, and it was love from the first sight. It wasn't the first one, another one came half a year later, but that's something that I discovered, and I was hoping that I can share it with somebody who's going to be, at the same level of interest, or in the same level of, sharing the same mission and being with me on the same side. I was really surprised to meet the person which I fell in love with was the person who wanted to share my mission. Who we had, like, for 2.5 years, you need to understand, for 2.5 years, we spent almost every Shabbat, maybe like 2 Shabbats we didn't spend together, when we would walk and talk, and we would have incredible, insightful discussions around San Francisco. We'd go starting from quantum theory, ending up into, philosophy, psychology, anything, you name it, right? But the thing which bonded us together was actually Judaism. That's why at some point we were like, we want to really do it. One day I just walked out with her from synagogue. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you really want to do this? You really want to go exactly this path? And she was affirmative. She didn't even hesitate. She was like, duh. Like what? Like. And to be honest, it was a fair point, because already two years in relationship. it would be weird to ask if she would be like, no, I changed my mind. Sorry. Anyway, so just this December I finished my conversion process. So. I want to discourage anybody who decides to follow my path. I'm not doing this again. It's no fun. You actually need to work it. You need to work it to get it. It's one of those religions which doesn't knock on your door, and if you try to get in, they actually try to pull you out for a really long time. 2 years basically. 2 years they're trying to get you off the porch. With no posters and anything, and shotgun, you name it. The Rabbi Block was, I'm honored to present Rabbi Block. He was the rabbi who actually helped me through the process. Without him I wouldn't be here. Without him he wouldn't be here. Without me he wouldn't be here.
That's right.
But I think he was really helpful. He actually at first looked hostile, but the closer we got to the process, he realized that he actually deal with a future Jewish soul and he couldn't resist anymore. I'm very thankful to him. That's why we have 3 rabbis. And Rabbi Peretz was the rabbi who first I encountered on my path to conversion, and he said no way. And even if I would do it, I would tell you still no way. There is no way I'm going to do any conversion. So still I hang out with him for 2 years. And I was annoying enough for him to actually submit as well.
You wore me down.
Yeah, I wore him down. And Rabbi Shlomo, which I know for a year and a half or even more. This is Rabbi of my shul where I go every Saturday and more than Saturday. Every time I go to pray. And he was amazing actually. He helped. Every time I came to him with any question, he was like, just don't worry, it's gonna happen. It's fine. It's fine. And he was like, it's probably gonna happen in a month. It's gonna happen in the end of the summer. In a few weeks. In a few weeks when Rabbi Block comes back. And he didn't saw any problems at all. No matter what life throw into my bucket, he was like, yeah, that's not a problem. You forgot this, that's not a problem. He was always supportive. He was always calm. He was trying to keep me on the path without punching me on the back. He was basically by my side in all of the hard steps of process. And of course, the biggest person who are we here for is Alena. Alena, thank you very much. I want to really thank you very much. No matter what, I mean this. You are my best friend. You're gonna be my bride. You're gonna be a part of me. You're gonna be my second half. I'm incredibly excited. Thank you guys for coming. You're the best.
Ready?
Okay, I just want to walk through this.
All the way.
We're gonna walk through here. So Rabbi Peretz and I, we're going to chant an ancient a cappella song known as a nigun as we walk through the chuppah. If you want to hum along, you're welcome to hum along. And this will begin the first part of the procession. Now that Alona is sufficiently dizzy.
Welcome everyone officially to the ceremony, to the chuppah of Eliyahu and Leah, to Igor and Alena. We began the ceremony by first Igor being under the chuppah. This was the transference from the tish, or from the moment that first he had to come to his bride, and his bride allowed him to be in the presence. And now it switches over to where he was by the chuppah, and Ilona comes to see him and to be there. And the first thing she does is surround him 7 times. 7 is the number of nature. You can see it in the form of 7 days of the week, or the 7th day is Shabbat, the day of rest. But more importantly, nature as it comes together is everything being in sync, everything being able to come together and complement one another. By Alona going around Igor 7 times, she essentially is saying that I am naturally connecting to you. We are going to be in sync. But there's a 3-prong approach happening over here. The first one was what we called the masculine energy going to the feminine energy, and then the reciprocal energy of the feminine going back to the masculine, and it's all happening under the chuppah, which is what we call divine energy. It is these 3 things that come together that really make a chuppah possible. So in honor of this great moment, we take and acknowledge what is happening over here, that you have the journey of Eliyahu. We have the full journey of his life. That means his parents and grandparents and his whole life that came before him, and what it took for him to be in this moment, at this moment right here. His whole existence culminates in this moment. We have Alona, we have Leah, and her mom and her family, and the generations of past, and her grandparents that come to this moment and are part of this. The Kabbalists go as far as saying that 7 generations back are here to witness this incredible moment of these souls coming together. And of course we have the divine presence. We have divine energy here putting this all together and making this happen under the chuppah, under the glory of the future house of Israel. So in honor of this moment, we sing Baruch Haba, which is a chant to welcome this incredible energy of these 3 approaches happening here at the same time and coming together. Baruch Haba, mi yadir ala kol, mi baruch ala kol, mi gadol ala kol, mi dagol ala kol, hu yevarech, hu yevarech, hu yevarech, hu yevarech, esach hasan v'esach halom. We introduce Rabbi Shlomo Zarchi, who is also a Kohen. A Kohen is not somebody who's better than you, but it is
Somebody.
Sorry. As I am not a Kohen, I take the right to say that. But a Kohen is a conduit for great blessing. And since he's a Kohen, we ask him to use his great abilities and the heritage before him to bring a blessing to the bride and groom here under the chuppah. The priestly blessing. Nothing happens in a vacuum. When we say that the journey of the bride and groom come together here under the chuppah with divine energy, it is also for all of us here. We've all come from incredible journeys to be at this moment. We thank all the people who've traveled to be here in this incredible moment to be part of this chuppah. In addition, Rabbi Zarchi and myself are not just rabbis, we are emissaries of the Chabad Rabbi, Rabbi Schneerson. And so when we come to a wedding, we also come with his blessing, and we bring his blessing to the bride and groom. And I'd like to share with you the traditional blessing that the Rebbe would send the bride and groom. I'll read it in Hebrew and English for you. Shalom ubracha b'mayin alayda mikvias man chasinasam hinini v'zeh le'avir berchasi berchas mazel tov v'shetiyeh v'shar tevu mutzlachas V'yivnu bayis b'Yisrael binyan on the yad al yisei ha'Torah v'mitzvahs k'fi shehem arurim b'mar sheb'Torah zui teres achsidus b'berachas mazel tov mazel tov. Greeting and blessings. In reply to your notification of the date of your wedding to take place with God's help, I send you with my prayerful wishes that it take place in a happy and auspicious hour, and that you build an everlasting Jewish home based on the foundation of Torah and mitzvos, as they are illuminated with the inner light of Torah, and that is the teaching of Chassidus, with the blessings of Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. May you be able to internalize all the great spiritual moments here, and for the rest of your life be able to unpack them day by day for many, many years to come.
Amen.
Aye. Shebbets. We will now have Rabbi Zarchi come up and say the official blessing of wedding. Unlike what people think about weddings, about what it produces, this blessing is actually about the couple themselves and not about what they produce in their life. The moment here right now is a sacred and beautiful moment, and it's this moment that we want to sanctify. To make something holy is to align it with a greater ideal. So this is the moment where we align their couplehood on a soul-like level and on a spiritual level, beyond what they produce in the physical, just within the capacity of their couplehood. We bless this moment right here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei pri hakafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kedishanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu al harayos v'asar lanu es ha'arusos v'hitir lanu es hanusuos lanu al yidei chuppah v'kiddushin. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Amo Yisrael al yidei chuppah v'kiddushin. Amen. Igor and Alena are fasting today. According to tradition, when a bride and groom get married, it's like the personal Yom Kippur. It's a personal day of atonement. They're starting anew. It's a new life. Everything that happened before doesn't count. And so today, they've been fasting all day. This is the first sip of anything they've had today. I'm trying to make it go a little quicker so they don't have to keep fasting. But
At this point, right after we make the blessing, Eliyahu is now going to give a ring to Leah. Igor is going to give to Alena a ring. The idea of a ring has several layers of symbolism. The truth is, a man is not able to pledge himself without what he produces in the physical. So giving a ring is a monetary pledge of saying, I give it to you. The reason why it took form of a ring over the centuries is because a ring represents infinity, something with no beginning and no end, representing the beginning. There's no beginning and end to the goodness and to the growth of this relationship. In addition, it is also a link and a chain to the tradition that they bring into their life and what they bring together. So with that, we're ready to... Mazel tov. No, not yet. As you know, Jewish people, we're into the paperwork to make sure everything fits together. So before we could officially end the ceremony, it's true, the blessing was done, the ring was done, but once again, we're going to bring up the ketubah. The ketubah in English could be called a covenant. A covenant is an agreement not made for the good times. Do you really need an agreement for today to work out? We're here, we're happy, we're about to go have a great party. Obviously, the agreement is not about today, but about the future that they will build. So it's important to take the lesson in for ourselves that when things are great, that's when you're supposed to make conditions for when they're not great, so you know where to draw from. So with that, we'll have the ketubah being read by Rabbi Block, who came from Southern California to be here for the ceremony. In your own mind, try to see how many words you can understand.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Eliyahu ben Avram Avinu Amalahad Besut Leah Bas Tatiana Heavy Leah into Kedas Moshe Yisrael. Van Eflach the Yoki of the Azon of Finance and Sikhi was doing you dying the whole kilo might be done on the finance in the Shem Kushla. Give no Lichi Moya Sulaki, Kesa Zuzi Mosen the Kosalichi because he lives with the rice. She was an idea to Saiki, the Alam of Saiki, Vera Kolara. But we asked for us later, but the door. Lamas laid into over the Dunya, and a slave in the Shaw, Amy gets a baby Zov, Amy Takchita, the one of the Lusha, Bishimusha, the Ido, Bishimusha, the Arsa. I go, give a love Eliyahu Chasadanan. The man's cooking gets the sort of the Eliyahu. Chasadanan was still over the Leon, man's cooking gets the sort of a Kahirin. Kineg don't Sakako, Masan's cooking gets the sort of. Gacham Eliyahu Chasadanan. Achwayish, that took the door, and the Dunya, and the Sefted door. Kabbalah Salai Vagasi Basra, this problem because Shvar Eric Nixon, the Kinyon, this because Koshmaya. If you know you, the Austin and Mikno, Nixon, this not acquires, the last not acquires, Fullayan, Alcroyan, Algoyan. And for every Hirsch, took the door, the Dunya, with the Sefted door. We know if I feel him in the Alcasvoy. The Kayai, but so Kayai, and Yuma, the Nano Yonah. Rakwayish, took the door, the Dunya, with the Sefted door, Kibel Love Eliyocha, Sandanan, Koimako, Storik Subis, the Sefted, and Hockey Bibinois Israel. Als ik het niet kan komen, dan gaan we naar Rogga. Rogga, dat is makkelijk. Dan kunnen ze de story van Konino en Eliyahu ben Avram. Konino, Cassandra aan de Ras Leah, Bas Tatiana, Sultado. Al komen aan de kosten, maar waar is Leah, maar waar is de kosten met de bij? Akoel, Shorev, Kayom. Dan Shlomo Abba ben Seir Shakoyin, Eid. En Peretz ben Yisrael Yitzchak, Eid.
Mom? So this document now is no longer Igor's. He hands it to his wife under the chuppah. She's giving it to her mother to hold for safety. You can sit down by the
We're about to do the final part of the wedding ceremony known as the Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings. Once again, where you hear the number 7, the synchronicity of nature coming to this moment and for something for them to elevate. We transfer now from the blessing being about just who they are in the moment, like we said on the first blessing, they're drawing in just for their life. These blessings are about now what they produce, the goodness and the fruit of their labor, of their relationship. And this is the change in the blessing that happens now when we went from just them in a vacuum to what they give to the universe and to the world. And of course, we're very excited for this couple to bring incredible things together to this world. So with that, we'll ask Rabbi Shlomo to do the Sheva Brachot and one more bit of wine drinking.
Amen. ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar es ha'adam b'tzalmoi b'tzelem demus tavnisoi v'hiskimoi mimenu b'nyan adayad baruch ato Adonai yotzer ha'adam sois tosis v'sogel ha'akaram v'kibot boneha v'soicha b'simcha baruch ato Adonai v'sameach Zion b'boneha
Amen.
samach t'samach re'im ahuvim t'samecha yetzirecha b'gan eden mikedem baruch ato Adonai v'sameach choson v'chalom Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bara sasan v'simcha chasan v'chala asher bara sasan v'simcha chasan v'chala Gila Reina Dita v'chela Amba v'yachva v'shalom v'reyo This is the Jewish equivalent of catching the bouquet. This is very special wine. If there's anybody here in the audience who hopes to be standing under here very, very soon, you're welcome. I owe you a drink, right? I took the wine away from you. But you can pass around. Everybody can have a little sip. It's have a sip. Huh? If you don't want to be under here, don't drink it. Don't be shy. We want no judgments. If you want to drink a little bit of the wine, it's special wine.
How long? Oh, we need the glass bag, so that's what.
Anybody else?
The other side.
We can add some more wines. Okay, we are coming to the close of the ceremony. This is the time when rabbis usually give their blessing before we break the glass. Okay. Our sages of the Talmud tell us that what does God do every single day? God is very busy every day, but creation happened a long time ago. Creation happened 5,000 plus years ago. So what does God do every single day? The Talmud tells us all God does is he makes matches. He makes shidduchs. He helps people, brides and grooms, find each other. But then, so the question is, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard if it's so natural and it's so simple and you're two halves of one whole? Why does it take so long, and why does God make it so difficult for two people to make their way under the chuppah? Now, I just want to share with you a brief thought and my own personal blessing, and to convey the blessings of the other rabbis, all the guests who are here with you. That, as you said, we've known you now for a few years, and we've seen the journey, your individual journey, your journey together, and each of your spiritual journeys. The Talmud tells us that for God to make a match is like, it's hard, like God splitting the sea. It's like splitting the Yam Suf. It's so difficult, right? The question is, why do the rabbis talk about God splitting the sea for making a match? What's the connection? What's the relationship between God splitting a sea and making a wedding? One of the answers that's given, and it's a beautiful thought to think about, is that God wants things to be together. God always wants everything to be united. But sometimes for the health, psychological, emotional, and spiritual health, people have to be apart until they find each other at the right time. You and Alona, when you were born, before you were born, in the heaven it was decreed that you two should be standing together and building the home together. Except if you would have found each other 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or 4 years ago, it would have been the right guy, but at the wrong time, right? And both of you God had to hold you apart. And this process, as you said before, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, you were tested. But God was holding you apart like the sea. When God split the sea for the Jewish people, it was like God was holding you two apart until today, until this moment. Now God says, now I can bring the water together. Now you've earned each other, but it's an important lesson for life that God has been waiting all this time for this moment for you two to come together. And so I want to bless all of you, bless you too, that as we stand here today and go, this is symbolizing your home. One of the reasons I told you we have this chuppah open on 4 sides, it symbolizes the home of Abraham. Our sages tell us Abraham's home was open on 4 sides. Open to blessings and to invite people in. A Jewish home is a home built upon hospitality, it's a home of kindness, a home of prayer, and a home of good deeds. And so we all bless and pray for both of you that the home you're going to build together, the physical and spiritual home, will be an open home. A home that you can share the love you have with each other, with your friends, with the world, to show them the beauty of your journey, the beauty of your Jewish life is something that should be open on all 4 sides, that everyone should feel welcome to come inside, and you can share with everybody else. We also conclude the ceremony with the breaking of the glass. Many of you have seen it, whether you've seen it live or you've seen it on television. Everybody knows that this is the end where everybody screams Mazel Tov. But why do we break a glass? Why are we breaking a glass? So classically, we break a glass because we want to remember the destruction of our holy temple. As Jews, our eyes, our hearts, and our minds are always in Jerusalem. No matter where we are in the world, whether in San Francisco or in South Africa, the fact is Jerusalem is our home, Israel is our home, and until we come back, there's something missing. And until the temple is rebuilt, no joy is complete. I do want to share with you on a personal level, and that is that as human beings, as people, we have to feel and share with the whole world. There's no such thing as the human beings living in a bubble. It's a big world out there, and somewhere today, there are people who are going through a difficult time. We all here are having the great time. We're here for a wedding. But Judaism teaches us that life has a bunch of peaks and valleys. It has mountains and it has low points. And today is your happiest day of your life. But we want to bless you. What's going to sustain you in times when things are not the best is today we stand here and you're going to break a glass because you're going to think about all the people who are broken all over the world who still need redemption. And then one day, when you are going through a difficult time, you'll remember that in my good times, I was thinking about somebody else. There will be another bride and groom standing thinking about you. And this is an important lesson that as human beings, we have to always remember our obligation to bring joy and healing to the world. It's not enough that we're happy today. We have to feel happiness and make sure happiness is brought everywhere in the world. With that, we're going to ask Igor. I joked about this on Saturday. The groom is the one to break the glass, not the bride, because today is the last day he's going to put his foot down for the rest of his life. Mazel tov.
Walk straight up. We're going to invite all the women can come and we'll do a circle with Alona, and the men we're going to do a circle dance with the
We can have the table in. Let it be in.
Go ahead.
Wait, is this another speech or you wrote?
Yeah, that's the speech I wrote.
The speech.
Yeah. Dear guests, I'm happy to stand in front of you in a new form and a new soul. Before today, you saw me only as a man, and today you attested, whatever that means.
Who really wrote that
I
speech?
wrote it. Attested transition from I to we. Not a lot of people is familiar with the multiple interpretation of a Jewish sage's give about act of creation of Adam and Eve. In the Bible that is popular around the globe, we read that Adam was asleep, and while he was asleep, God took one of his ribs and created the Eve, which, just for this notion followed 1,000 years of patriarchal oppression towards the woman, which we can observe still in the Middle East. I want to talk to
Starting Google.
I never read it again. I really wrote it, never wrote it. It was in the morning.
Seems like
No. Okay, so I want to talk about interpretation, which actually I resonate the most in my soul. There's multiple interpretation what exactly the whole rib from Adam was about, and one of the interpretation is that we read the male and female, he created them, which is translated as Adam, which is closely translated as a human, like human being, was created with two sides, two souls imprinted in one body. You see, as often things are lost in translations, and the word used for rib is zela, which in different part of Torah is translated as a side. So basically, if you can imagine, there was a being with two sides, which one was female and one was male. So, and in the act of creation of Eve, God split the first human in two, and they become man and woman. In conclusion, man without a woman is not complete in the eyes of a God. Today I stand for you not as a half, but as a newly formed complete human, as I finally united with my better other half. I'm happy, thankful for this day, and hope this notion will stay with us for long as we move forward carrying our mission in life. I want to say thank you to my parents that couldn't be with us and that are watching this through online stream. No, really. And I want to thank you to Alona's parents, who are the beautiful, smart woman. Special thanks to Rabbi Zarchi, Rabbi Peretz, and Rabbi Block, as each of them played a crucial role in the line of events that guided us towards this grand finale of Incomplete Humans, and I don't know what it means. Help us through the transition to what God envisioned in the first place.
Amen.
I'm really grateful for the life and opportunity to be there with you guys. I love you, and I really happy that you met each other, and that's a crazy story that I actually knew those guys separately. I knew Igor from my teenage years, from 19 years, and we've been friends since then. And I met Alena during my work at the EPAM, and how the stars and the universe is, it's amazing. I knew them both, but they met despite all the odds here in San Francisco. And one day, I've been on a call with Igor, and he said like, oh, I met the girl, and her name is Alena. She works at IPAM, and she originally from Kharkov. And I said, Matochina? And he was like, what? How do you know her last name?
It was really awkward.
Yeah, that was the most awkward
Did he
one.
date her?
Yes.
I'm not making this up. That's a real story.
Yes.
And, there is something
Maybe
behind.
no go.
There is certainly
the first question.
something behind this marriage, behind all this thing. The God probably looks at you, and you have this blessing to being together. All right. Be happy. I love you guys.
Thank you.
It was advertised to everybody. I know her since he was the child, 6-year-old. We actually
one, like crank it up every time
Yeah.
you tell a
No,
story.
it wasn't sex. we actually
For a while.
we were actually competitors, so we were on the same team, but we were always competing in swimming. So it was always like me better than him. I still believe that I am, but I'm probably sure I can kick my ass at this point.
That's how I learned programming in the first place. Actually, we were competing then later on in programming.
Later, we separated probably for 2 years. We haven't talked to each other, and we met on when we were in the hospital. Both were just like, hey, I need this guy. I know this guy. And then afterwards, we become like really good friends, and we were spending a lot of time together. I remember our parents. We were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go in 5 minutes to talk in our entrance to the building or whatever. And we spent like 2-3 hours just talking. The parents are coming out, are you still alive? And we're like, yeah, we're still here. We're just discussing our business. So we spent a lot of time together, and I came 17 years old when I left. And we met here, like on opposite side of the world, 10 years later, as a friends again. So in San Francisco, actually. So anyway, I'm very happy that he met his love, and I'm very happy for you guys. It's a really pleasure to meet you this trip. I know him a lot, but to live with him, it's a challenge. I get it. I can say like I'm very happy you actually can tolerate him. Must be. Anyway, I wish you all the happiness and long life and happiness. It's a and lots of kids.
And health.
Lots of kids.
Okay.
Everyone wishes
Health,
kids here. I'm
very
like,
important.
Where are the kids? Where are the dishes?
Babushka already did that. she put her foot down right at the beginning, exactly what this did.
Nobody follows Babushka.
No, because once she puts her foot down, that's it. It's a given.
It's a must, right?
It's a must.
And lots of kids.
Thank you.
But I know them very deeply.
They live in my house.
But I think I really like the image today of the waters being separated and that God finds the right
She was
timing.
listening to one thing that I said. That one thing I said, you were listening to the whole day. She heard one thing. I'm kidding.
But
Continue.
I liked the point of timing, because I think it's very interesting that both of your paths have led in such very different ways, and I think you both went through a lot of trials before, but I think it was the right types of trials that led you to actually find each other at this moment. And I think if it was 4 years ago or whatever, many years ago, it probably wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, actually, when you were saying this thing, that we agreed. Literally, that's completely true. Actually, this
I
is
thought that was very-
we talked before about this concept, and there will be no way we would be together. The planets
I
arranged.
hope that wasn't part of your speech also.
No, I can't.
Well, I think it's a very good image, because I think it explains a lot, and I think you guys do complement each other so well, and finally the waters are united. And it's nice actually, because now I know all of your bad habits too, like Igor's little toothpicks everywhere. Like all over the house.
You were the first one who said it. Now you broke a spell. Now I'm gonna be self-conscious about it.
Well, but even I can tolerate living with you, and so can Anton, and so can Soba. So I think you're not as difficult to live with as everybody says. And we're not
Maybe you're just tolerable person. Maybe you can just tolerate a lot.
Yeah, that's true too.
But I'm
She
very
doesn't
happy
care
that I
about
get to not only be friends with you guys, but actually go home with you guys. Because it makes a very
Part of the
special
extended family.
extended family. So anyways, I hope we'll stay an extended family
Okay. Thank you.
for a long time.
No pressure. Yeah, I know Igor and Alena
For quite a while.
yeah, good people.
They're okay.
Love to spend time with them. Yeah, I wish you guys very many good times and kids. There are people who wish in Eastern Europe in America. So I don't know. I think you all look amazing, and I'm also having the heavy jet lag, so I have hard time.
Okay.
Yes,
You're good.
thanks
Thank
for-
you very much.
That's right.
I just want you guys to know that you guys have had like such a profound like impact on our move, and I know like it's not about us, but I think that just says a lot about like the kind of people that you are, especially like as a couple, and like I just really appreciate how like inclusive you've been with us and how much you've like shown us, and it's really just like you guys just like exude like this positivity, and like you really like give it off, and it's just like amazing to like be around you guys. It's like a really special. It's a really special and like unusual personality trait. Like I'm just amazed at how easy it's been to like be friends with you guys, because usually like I get like a lot of social anxiety, like when I first meet people, and like I didn't really get that with you guys, and it's really cool.
Thank you.
And kids.
Kids. And kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.